If you're trying to decide whether you want to rent or buy in Ottawa in 2026, I get why you're potentially stuck. Rent feels pretty high. Mortgages, the payments itself also feel pretty high. And the interest rates, well, they don't feel cheap. And depending on who you listen to, you'll always hear pretty much the same thing. Buying is always better. Renting is throwing your money away, or just wait, prices will drop. Or my favorite, just buy now, these deals won't last. Please, give me a break. Deals always come, deals always last. It's really in the negotiation of it all anyway, but I digress. The problem is that most of all of this advice is really incomplete. So today, I want to walk you through the real financial and the strategic differences between renting and buying in Ottawa using updated rules, real numbers, and 5-year lens. Not hype, not fear, just clarity. And by the end of the video, you'll know which option actually moves you forward and which one quietly keeps you stuck. Let's get into it. And well, most people compare renting and buying something to this effect. What's my rent? What's my mortgage payment? Oh, mortgage payment is higher. I guess I'll rent. And that's a mistake. Renting versus buying is not a month-to-month decision. It's really a 5-year financial strategy. And when you zoom out properly, the math and the trade-offs become much clearer. Let's talk honestly about renting in Ottawa right now in early 2026. A modest but updated 2-bedroom apartment or a small townhouse in a desirable neighborhood is roughly $2,400, $2,500, $2,600 a month. And that's about $30,000 a year, or follow the math, that's about 150 grand over a 5-year period. Now, here's an important correction, and this matters. Rent increases are not capped across the board. Ontario rent control only applies to units that are first occupied before November 15th, 2018. Anything built after that, well, landlords can legally increase rent by any amount once the lease renews. So, in 2026, some renters have stability. Other renters are completely exposed, and many don't realize which category they're actually in. That's renter beware, not buyer beware, but renter beware. Not landlord-friendly or tenant-friendly, just reality. And regardless of the rent levels, here's the key point. Renting builds no equity, no leverage, no ownership control. And that doesn't mean renting is wrong, but it doesn't move you forward financially on its own. Now, let's look at buying a property. So let's use a very typical Ottawa example. A $500,000 home. You're a first-time home buyer. You put 5% down, or $25,000. That particular down payment can often be funded using your first home savings account, your FHSA, and I've talked about that in previous videos, a home buyer's plan, the HBP, or a combination of both. And at current interest rates, your mortgage is roughly $475,000. And here's what's changed recently, and it matters for 2026. First-time home buyers purchasing new construction can now access a 30-year amortization. That, in of itself, lowers the monthly payments, it improves qualification, creates breathing room early in that process. And added to all of that, there's also builder incentives, deposit flexibilities, and occasional off-market opportunities. And suddenly, buying looks different than it did just a few years ago. All right, so now let's zoom out a little bit and let's do this properly. Assume that a $500,000 home grows at a conservative 3% per year, which is typical in Ottawa over longer periods. So that $500,000 home is now worth $579,000. Your appreciation, obviously, $79,000. Now add the mortgage pay down. Over the 5 years, you'll be paying roughly $40,000 to $45,000 in principal. So your total equity that you've created is about $120,000 to $125,000. You started with $25,000 down. That's not speculation. That's time plus ownership plus real math. Meanwhile, renting over that same 5-year period, you've paid $150,000. You've created $0 in equity, and that difference isn't subtle. Over 5 years, the gap between renting and buying can approach the delta between the two. It's about $250,000. That's the real cost. So when is renting the right move? And let's be very clear, because obviously nuance matters. There are times when renting is the right decision. I rented temporarily during my divorce. I've talked about that. And that was a deliberate move. It gave me flexibility. It gave me clarity and time to plan my next move. That wasn't failure. It was actually strategy. Renting can make sense if you need short-term flexibility. You're resetting financially or personally, and you're intentionally preparing for a larger move. The problem isn't renting. The problem is renting without a plan. So this home or this studio, this is actually a coach house that I've rented. It's a 2-level, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom coach house. And by the way, I've learned a lot about coach houses. If you're ever in the market for that, give me a call. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. This is the 2-bedroom, 2-level coach house. I'll put a link on this particular unit because my landlord is actually selling his house. It is an amazing lot with a rental income. Here it is. Et voila. This is the power of the coach house option. But all that to say, it was a temporary move for me. I had to get through my divorce. I got through my divorce. I've then recently purchased a home. I haven't moved yet, but I've purchased a home in Russell. That is my next move. And that is now giving me the ability to launch back into home ownership. So again, rental isn't like a bad idea if you actually have a plan and you're working through your wealth journey. My wealth journey is different than your wealth journey, but all that to say, it's not always a bad idea. All right, so let's shift gears altogether. What if buying just isn't possible for you yet? If buying isn't realistic for you in 2026, that doesn't mean that you're stuck. Some clients start by investing capital, often about $25,000 through registered funds like their TFSA, your RRSPs, or even your LIRA. And they invest that into passive private market real estate opportunities. And that allows them to build wealth, earn returns, stay invested in real estate, prepare for future ownership. And while they stabilize their income, potentially their credit, or even timing, these are all different paths, but it's the same destination. All right, so let's get into asking the actual right questions. I just did a video last week or 2 weeks ago, and at the time I was forecasting 2026. And people ask me all the time, is the market going up or down? And I was saying in that video, that's not the right question. It's just too simple. It needs to be more asking about the subsection of the market in a specific neighborhood. So is townhouses going up or down in this specific neighborhood? That's the appropriate question, because townhouses and condos, as an example, are going in opposite directions. The same is true in this particular video. And the question isn't, should I rent or should I buy? The real question is, where do I want to be in 5 years from now? Or which option actually moves me forward? Or lastly, what decision builds stability instead of delaying it? That's how we make real estate decisions. So obviously realize, where are you on your journey? Where are you today? Where do you need to be in 5 years? And work the math backwards. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here, ladies and gentlemen. This topic is not a really complicated topic by any stretch. However, it is a topic worth discussing because there is a lot of confusion out there. Everywhere you go, everywhere you turn, somebody's got an opinion and everything is contradictory. So I understand it. And that's why I created the readiness quiz, which you could find on my website at markbelangerrealty.com. Take the quiz. It is really designed to help you get unstuck, force you to answer a few questions, and hopefully once that is done, we can build a plan. We'll jump on a call together. My Calendly link is in the description below. From there, we set your goals and your objectives for 2026, and hopefully I can help. My website, once you're there at markbelangerrealty.com, you'll also see demographic information by neighborhood. You'll see schools, you'll see restaurants, you'll see all that in those various neighborhoods, as well as a VIP list. And that's important. Put your name on the VIP list because, or tell me what you're looking for, because I often come across off-market opportunities, development projects that are about to be released, that kind of stuff. And if your name is on the VIP list, I can get you that information a little quicker than the average person and before it actually hits the market. So pretty valuable from that perspective if you're looking to get some timely information. So that's about it. I hope this information was informative. I hope this video was informative. I look forward to putting these videos together on a weekly basis. So until the next video, stay smart, stay invested, stay patient, and I'll see you in the next one.